Story time with GiBi.
Chapter 7 4-Cent Egg Zone. SNT and Eggman stared at each other intensely. "What are you doing here?" she inquired. "I didn't think you would be here, SNT, but I guess I could explain how I got here myself." Eggman looked up at the highest building, saw on his face, and smiled. "You see, after Sonic defeated me recently, I went to Angel Island to put my next plan into action. I was going to summon a goddess of space to transport me to another world where I could take over. It seemed perfect. Sonic would never follow me and couldn't stop me. But once I arrived, I was interrupted by you." SNT's memory was returning. "I remember." SNT had been at the Angel Island base, watching the robots repair the portal. That was when Eggman had appeared in the area. "Sonic, that blue nuisance is wrecking all of my plans," he raged. "No worries, though. I have a plan to move away, to a different universe." SNT had been watching Eggman from a safe, hidden area. "Oh no." "Once this portal works with all the Chaos Emeralds in my hand, I will then attempt to travel through the multiverse and take over a new world without Sonic's interference," Eggman laughed. SNT sprang out from behind a column and attacked the villain's robots, causing many explosions. Eggman noticed the commotion. "Badniks, get her!" She was able to fight off the army of Badniks, but while she was occupied, Eggman switched on the machine. "You're too late, SNT! I will soon escape to another world that will be mine to conquer." Just then, a white dragon suddenly appeared out of the portal, fixed its gaze on Eggman, and roared. "This must be the goddess of space! You shall listen to me, as I am the great Dr. Whoa!" Eggman's speech was cut short as the monster seized him. "Hey, put him down!" SNT tried to homing attack the dragon, but in the process, she accidentally broke Eggman's machine, causing space itself to warp. The Chaos Emeralds were sucked into the newly formed portal as the dragon snatched SNT into the air. It held Dr. Eggman in one hand and SNT in the other, but only for a moment before it, too, was swept off its feet by the force of the portal behind it. SNT and Eggman were torn from the dragon's grasp as the hole in space devoured them all. The monster disappeared first. Eggman tried his hardest to hold on to his machine, but lost his grip, and then took hold of SNT's leg instead. "What are you doing?" SNT shrieked, trying to save herself. "You caused this mess, and now I'm taking you with me," Eggman roared. Eggman was so heavy that SNT's hands could not maintain their grasp on the tank she was holding onto. They both fell into the multiverse, now losing each other, immersed in darkness, with only the stars and universe around them. That was when SNT passed out. "Since we lost each other, I have made it a mission to take over this city. When you sang to the audience and exposed them to other media, I knew it was my chance to take control. So I persuaded people to come to my side, take out their mayor, and install me as the ruler of Quickville, or as I wish to call it, Robotropolis," Eggman exulted. "You can't do this. I won't let you." SNT prepared to fight. "I'm going to let you get to me first. If you need me, I will be pondering my projects on top of the tallest building in the city. Come to floor 66+6 if you want to see me again," Eggman challenged her. "All right, I will be there in a flash." SNT took off running, as Eggman then flew up to the top of the building to wait. SNT then ran into the building in pursuit of the evil genius. 4-Cent Egg Zone Act 1. Once in the lobby of the building, SNT could see that the elevator wasn't working. This meant that she would have to climb the building herself. "Of course Eggman wouldn't make this easy," SNT muttered. She was forced to access the second floor by boosting up the wall and onto the second floor. She then had to keep climbing to the third, and so on. The task demanded non-stop parkour with wall jumping, running up walls, and jumping from platform to platform. Each floor had all kinds of gossip, tacked, taped, or written on the walls, probably put there by the previous owners. The content was horrible. It included all sorts of slander against Chris, who was mayor of Quickville. The walls also had planned to troll the mayor because he was extremely gullible in falling for such tricks. SNT ended up running through all sorts of rooms with every kind of gossip posted all over. Soon, she found herself surrounded by things she didn't want to see. It reminded her of the pictures that Pina had given her. They were all drawn about the characters in this world, some that she'd seen and some that she hadn't. Good drawings were randomly mixed with inappropriate ones. There were even some of Sonic. Sonic looks kind of good with that. Never mind, SNT said to herself. There were no Pokemon, but badniks that SNT had to avoid. It was a mix of all the types of robots Eggman had used against Sonic. SNT could just boost into them, since she already knew they were easy to take out. SNT soon located a large ring. I still need 3 more Chaos Emeralds, she noted, and jumped into the ring. Special stage. Get to the end of the stage in 1 minute. This stage was a lot harder, because there weren't just more spikes, but also, SNT now had to jump over gaps in the road she was on, or it was game over. The rings were also more scattered, and becoming less common to collect. It was hard, but still, she barely made it with 1 second left on the clock. SNT got a Chaos Emerald. SNT continued to climb the building. Once she reached the 33rd floor, she arrived at a glass room with the city view on display all around her. Just when she was about to climb the stairs to the next floor, she heard a voice. "Stop!" someone shouted. SNT looked back to find a purple Sonichu right behind her. It seemed that he had come after her. "Father has asked me to take care of Eggman. You can stop here. You could get yourself hurt if you continue." "I appreciate your concern, but I must continue, as I see Eggman as... Wait, who is your father?" SNT abruptly changed the subject. "Is he a superhero? Is this your first mission, or is he sick?" "Well, father is really Chris," the Sonichu admitted. "Wait, what? You're not even biologically related to him. How is that possible?" SNT inquired. "Well, Chris created us with his genius mind," the purple creature responded. "I was born from an egg and raised by a Mewtwo, but we call him Father, because he is the mastermind of the Sonichus." "That's really weird. I don't even want to question it, because I have seen just about enough of this world," SNT admitted. "Everything here is messed up." "This place is perfect! How dare you insult the world that Chris has created?" the Sonichu responded crossly, obviously offended. "It doesn't matter. I just need Eggman to get out of here," SNT said, about to run off again. "You can't face Eggman, you're too weak," he asserted. "This is why Chris sent me, Magi-chan, one of the most powerful Sonichus in the world." "I think I can take him. I faced him before, and I have won. This is just another day for me," SNT retorted. But Magi didn't budge. "You must turn back and find Chris. He will keep you safe from Eggman," Magi answered back. After all that Chris had done to SNT, she reasoned, "Why would I go back after he's already attacked me? Why would I trust him when I am powerful enough to stop Eggman on my own? There's nothing you can do to stop me from taking him down myself." "Then I will take you down, and if I beat you, you must turn back," Magi dared. "Deal." SNT accepted the challenge and took her fighting stance. Magi started emitting psychic waves, throwing SNT all over the room and into the ground. SNT then homing attacked Magi, but Magi did another psychic attack to avoid it, throwing her all over the room yet again. SNT tried to boost, but Magi seemed to know where she was at all times, even with his eyes closed, and would either dodge or counterattack by spamming the psychic attack. It seemed that SNT couldn't do anything to attack him. Magi-chan's next move was to flip gravity, and then put it right back to normal to confuse her. Magi was ruthless, and was trying his hardest to keep his attacks coming. He would throw her around, and homing attack constantly. Magi-chan was too powerful to be easily defeated. SNT was getting tired but could not get a breath between the heavy attacks. She was about to pass out. Still, she had one last trick up her sleeve. She quickly grabbed one of the Chaos Emeralds from behind her back and shouted, "Chaos Control— No!" Magi-chan had interrupted, knocking the emerald out of her hand. It rolled on the floor behind her. SNT then realized how Magi was doing it. Magi can see the future! When he ran to scoop up the Chaos Emerald from the floor, SNT grabbed another one from behind her back. They faced each other, emeralds in hand, like it was a race. If SNT didn't yell in time, the fight would be over for her. Magi and SNT both yelled, "Chaos Control!" And time slowed down. SNT opened her eyes and found that she might indeed have been slightly faster than Magi. She took advantage of the situation, ran up to Magi, took back the Chaos Emerald, and beat him up with 10 hits. When time returned to its normal pace, Magi was in pain. He fainted. She'd knocked him out. SNT got through Act 1, rank S, score. The ground started to shake, and SNT felt the floor under her feet start crumbling. She quickly ran to the stairs by boosting, and made it by jumping to the door opening. Magi went down to the floor and landed below, covered in the rubble. SNT wanted to save Magi, but knew that if she went down the floor, she could never get back to Eggman. SNT just had to keep going. 4-cent Egg, Act 2. In this last part of the building, SNT had to work against falling platforms and stairs. It was like Eggman was shaking the building. It reminded her of going through the Wild Zone after fighting Slaweel, when the witch put a temporary curse on her, and the trees and ground kept trying to kill her. All the same, she would survive. The area was also darker, since it was late at night and there were no lights on. Some of the floors were completely black, and SNT had to grab a temporary light, which would last for only 15 seconds before going out. To renew the light, she had to collect batteries. The badniks were remixed a little. Now they attacked with lasers, which created light for SNT to see by in the dark, but would also hurt her if she made contact. She was still climbing the building, but she soon found a large ring and jumped into it. Special stage! Get to the end of the stage in 1 minute! This was possibly the hardest stage of all, as every jump had to be precise and perfect. SNT really had to focus. This time, the track she ran on was falling apart, so she had to jump in time to make sure she didn't fall off. It was really close and hard. She did hit one spike and lose 10 rings, but she didn't give up. Eventually, she barely made it before the clock ran out. SNT got a Chaos Emerald. "I need one more," SNT stated. "I wonder where it could be." When SNT made it to the 66th floor, she was confronted by a circular path all the way to the 72nd floor. On top of the building was a ball, which looked like the Death Egg, but on a smaller scale. It was built on top of the building. Suddenly, right behind her, she heard Eggman laugh. "Welcome to your final resting place, SNT. I built this place out of the leftover rubble from the previous building that once stood here. I have a special surprise for you." "Show me what you got, Eggman. I'm not afraid of you," SNT yelled back. Eggman then took his floating mobile and mounted what looked like the white orb-shouldered dragon she'd seen before. "What is that?" "Meet the goddess of space for this world, Palkia, a Pokemon who will destroy you. But not yet, as I have another surprise. Come hither, Roboso!" Eggman yelled. Just like that, a robot that looked familiar appeared. One of its eyes was open, but the other was covered in electrical equipment. Its body was blue, with spikes coming out of its back, something that SNT recognized. "Sonic!" SNT yelled. "What did you do to him?" "I tamed Palkia with the Chaos Emerald," Eggman said, holding the stone up for her to see, "and ripped Sonic out of our dimension and knocked him out. Then I roboticized him. That is not Sonic anymore." SNT was alarmed. "He is the last Chaos Emerald, and roboticized Sonichu!" It hit her in all the wrong ways. Eggman challenged her. "Let's see you try to get yourself out of this. Since he is the love of your life, get him, Roboso!" Robo-Sonic then fired up the jets on his back. SNT quickly boosted to get ahead. They were both now climbing the swirling pathway to the 72nd floor. Sonic was clearly faster than SNT, but SNT tried her hardest not to stop running and to speed up. Sonic flew into the air and attacked her head-on. SNT couldn't dodge and tripped over her own feet. Sonic didn't blink and only kept running behind her. "Sonic, you need to snap out of it! It's SNT, remember?" SNT yelled. Sonic then went ahead of her and attacked her with a diving attack, which SNT avoided by jumping. "Sonic, I can't attack you! You're everything to me!" SNT said in desperation. Sonic then did another attack, this time by coming up behind SNT and trying to run her down. SNT avoided this by jumping behind him. Sonic suddenly stopped to trip her up, but SNT avoided it as well by jumping overhead. No matter what Sonic did, SNT could never persuade herself to attack or counterattack him. It was just too hard for her to hurt him. They both ended up running up the spiral ramp, up into the ball on the 72nd floor, where SNT found herself trapped in the ball when the door closed behind her, sealing her in with Sonic. Eggman, riding Palkia, entered through the top of the ball, and then things got real. Sonic kept diving into SNT, while Palkia slashed at her. That gave her two obstacles to avoid. Every time SNT dodged one of Palkia's or Eggman's attacks, they would hit Sonic, destroying more pieces of his robotic side. Sonic would attack by turning into a ball and trying to homing attack SNT, but then she would jump onto Eggman, where he sat on top of the dragon. "What are you doing?" Eggman demanded. Sonic then hit Eggman when SNT dodged, damaging both. "If I make them attack each other, I could get away with this," SNT said to herself. She kept getting in front of Sonic to make Palkia attack him, or she would get on Eggman to make Sonic attack him. Eggman caught on, though, and used Palkia to shake SNT off, forcing SNT to have to hold on or fly in front of Eggman to get Sonic to attack. SNT had no problems attacking Eggman directly, at least. After enough of Palkia's attacks against Sonic, the robot side of him was broken off, and Sonic was propelled back. SNT then used this chance to attack Eggman directly. Suddenly, Eggman's pod exploded, sending him flying to the ground. Palkia was now free from Eggman's grasp. The Chaos Emerald then flew into the air, allowing SNT to leap up and catch it in her hands. SNT got a Chaos Emerald. SNT can now become Super SNT. SNT got through Act 2, Rank S, Special. She then went to check on Sonic. "Sonic, are you alright?" she asked, kneeling over him. Sonic opened his eyes groggily, as his vision slowly came back into focus. "SNT?" "Oh, Sonic!" SNT hugged him, overflowing with joy. Hey, calm down. I'm just happy to see you're safe," Sonic responded. Now, though, the base all around them started to shake and self-destruct. "We need to get out of here," SNT commanded, as she grabbed Sonic's hand and pulled him into the hole formed by the explosion. Together, they jumped from the 72nd floor. "SNT, why did you do that?" Sonic yelled as he fell. However, SNT came to the rescue, using her tails to fly to the ground with Sonic in her arms, and landing softly on the ground as the building collapsed behind them. "I'm so glad to see you, Sonic. I have been in this world for so long that I don't know what to do," SNT declared. "Everything is okay. You were able to get through it," Sonichu reassured her. "By the way, where are we?" "Quickville," SNT replied. She then explained to Sonic what had happened so far, and told him about the Chaos Emeralds. But when the conversation got around to Christian, suddenly Chris appeared, seemingly out of nowhere, and zapped SNT with a ray. "Ah!" she yelled. She then fell to her knees. "Hey, what did you do to her?" Sonic demanded. "Hey, Sonic. Huge fan," Christian responded inappropriately. "Why, thank you, but you hurt SNT," Sonic confronted Chris. Chris then showed off his device. "This is my Find Creator Ray. It finds creators of things and brings them here to this location," he explained. "I needed SNT so I could summon her creator." Chris then pushed a red button on the machine. Meanwhile, somewhere in the United States, a girl named Courtney was in her bedroom, finishing something on her computer. And done. The latest episode of SNT Forces is now complete. Now I must export it, And of course Premiere Pro is going to take all night, so I guess it's time to call it a night, she said to herself. Suddenly, a wind whipped up outside. Courtney had left the window open to let fresh air in. She went to the window and began to close it. But then, a bright light appeared outside the window, and the wind increased to tornado force. She was knocked off her feet, only to find that a portal had opened to the floor of her room. What's going on? She was then sucked down the portal, unaware of where it would lead. A portal opened up above SNT, Chris, Sonic, and now Sonichu and Rosechu, who had just arrived on the scene. Without warning, a blue-haired girl with cat ears fell from the portal, and Chris scooted into position to catch her in his arms. When the girl landed, Chris lost his balance and fell on his backside, with the girl on top of him. What happened? The disorientated girl said from her position on top of Christian. As her vision cleared, she noticed SNT and Sonic. What? SNT? Is that you? How do you know my name? SNT asked. Then she looked down at what she'd landed on. Eek! She screamed and shot up on her feet. I am terribly sorry about... Wait, Chris-chan? She asked. Yep, Chris replied. Okay, I must be dreaming. There is no way I could be meeting my Sonic OC, she pointed at SNT, and Chris-chan in the same area. Sonic OC? SNT replied. Who are you to call me that? I don't know what's going on anymore. The girl thought she was going crazy. Courtney, I am the one who summoned you, Chris said proudly. Is it because I used your characters and redesigned them for that video? Courtney inquired. In that case, I'm sorry. Please don't sue me. No, actually. It's for a different reason, Chris responded. I have summoned you here to solve my love quest. Oh, that's great. In that case, I am so happy that you don't want to sue- Wait, what? Courtney just realized what Chris had said, just as she suddenly felt her hand being pulled. Come on, Courtney. I can't wait to date you, Chris said, running along and tugging the unwilling girl. Wait, Chris, I don't think you should be doing this. Please let go, Courtney yelled. Help me! What is a Sonic OC? SNT still pondered. What are you doing, SNT? We need to go after her, Sonic declared. She wants our help. I need to ask her what she meant by her Sonic OC, SNT insisted. Both Sonic and SNT then started running after Chris and Courtney. SNT knew that her adventure through Quickville wasn't over yet. Chapter 8: Sexual Speedway Zone. Courtney was still locked onto Chris's arm as they made it to an amusement park in Quickville. The destination Chris had chosen for them was the Tunnel of Love. Chris finally let go of Courtney as a swan boat arrived on shore. Please, Chris, this is nice and all, but you know I need to be somewhere right now, Courtney implored. Come on, Courtney, this Tunnel of Love is the perfect place where I can get to know you better, Chris responded as the door to the boat opened. After you. Oh, I just remembered I left my, cat on fire. Yeah, that's it. My cat is burning right now, and I have to put it out. Let me just do that. But if you go through the portal in the mayor's office, you will end up in Ruckersville, Virginia, and I don't know where your house is. There's no time to go home, Chris retorted. Darn, Courtney said in frustration, as Sonichu abruptly pushed her onto the boat. Please, our great mayor is giving you an offer to spend time with him. Please don't decline his invitation, Sonichu begged. Chris has been alone for a long time, and is looking for someone like you, Rosechu smiled. Please spend more time with him, and he will treat you like a princess. Princess? You mean the Disney ones with no personality? Yeah, I bet, Courtney snarked back. Chris started the boat and headed them into the tunnel. Courtney sat as far back from Chris as the boat would allow and curled herself into a ball, repeating, This is a dream, this is a dream, I'm going to wake up from it soon. Please, Courtney, wake up. Don't worry, Courtney, I'm a nice guy, and I'm full of sugar, Chris offered. Oh my god. That statement didn't make Courtney feel any better. Sonichu and Rosechu got their own boat and followed them right in. Let's enjoy our time in here. After all, I've never seen this place. It would be a great spot for us to be alone, Chris gushed. Soon, SNT and Sonic arrived on the scene at the opening of the tunnel. SNT blushed. We have to go? In there? Yep! Sonic got excited. SNT had to smack herself in the face to snap out of it. Sonic, I don't think this is going to work. What do you mean? Sonic asked. SNT crossed her legs and put her hands together to keep her fingers still. The point I'm trying to make is that, Sonic, you're just too distracting for me. Distracting? Sonic was surprised. Sonic also had feelings for SNT, so he understood. I want to do this alone. That girl, Courtney, knows something about me that I don't know, and having you there is just... SNT's explanation was cut short by Sonic's finger gently placed across her lips. I know what you mean. Here's the deal. I will wait for you, and if you take too long, then I will come after you. Deal? Sonic offered. Okay, thank you for understanding. Embarrassed, SNT looked away from Sonic. It's okay. Just go in there and do what you need to do. Sonic nodded. SNT then boarded a boat, rowed it into the Tunnel of Love, and waved at Sonic until he was out of sight. Sexual Speedway Zone Act 1. It turned out that the tunnel wasn't all just a boat ride. SNT quickly found herself up against a shore, so she docked her boat and went deeper into the area. The cave changed as it turned into a maze of astounding proportions. The zone was nothing like SNT had ever seen. It was made from pink bouncy pillows that lay all over the place, which she just used to jump to higher places. This area had a Valentine's Day theme. The walls were white, as was the ground, to indicate where there were no pillows, just a normal floor. As SNT made her way in deeper, she discovered rivers of pink water which forced her to swim into the cavern to make progress. There wasn't an overabundance of water though. It was primarily a design feature, allowing the tunnel to be decorated with pink waterfalls. Weirdly enough, there were no Pokemon to fight, or enemies to defeat. SNT wondered why that was, but still, she had to avoid drowning, running into spikes, and being hit by falling lights. She eventually stumbled upon Sonichu and Rosechu, where they sat next to a waterfall, admiring its beauty. Wow, Sweet Bolt, this shore is romantic, Rosechu smiled. You know, we are alone right now. Do you want to get dirty? Sonichu winked. As Sonichu tackled her, Rosechu cried out, Oh, Sonichu! Stop, 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 stop! SNT burst in upon the scene and interrupted them. Please, not here! You interrupted our private time, Sonichu yelled, frustrated. I'm sorry, but I'm just trying to get through and find Courtney, SNT admitted. Sonichu stood up, and Rosechu backed away to watch. Last time we fought, you performed an attack I didn't think you knew, so this time, I will not hold anything back. I'm here to protect Chris's love quest from being interrupted by you. But if you even looked at Courtney's face, you could see she doesn't want this. She doesn't want to do anything with him, SNT retorted. Sonichu didn't listen. Love will find a way to everyone's heart. Prepare yourself for the last battle with me, he declared. Sonichu opened by kicking water into SNT's face, following it up with a real kick. SNT then jumped over Sonichu and performed a homing attack, but SNT used his hands to block it. Then, SNT punched Sonichu in the chest. Sonichu retaliated by throwing electro balls at SNT, which required her to dodge using parkour. SNT performed another homing attack, hitting him directly. Sonichu tried using Volt Tackle, but then SNT would just dodge and homing attack from behind. He also did a running punch, but she dodged it the same way, and then counterattacked. This fight with Sonichu was different from the first, but was still fairly easy for SNT. As the battle neared its end, Sonichu stood before SNT, and they stared each other down. Let's end this, Sonichu said as he prepared a Volt Tackle. To counterattack, SNT prepared to boost. Blue and yellow light streamed from the combatants, and an instant later, they clashed. Both of them were attempting to repel each other using their powers. They both ran so hard, the battle would boil down to a matter of endurance. Who would be worn out first? SNT decided to use Sonic's strategy, which was to keep her feet on point by saying, AB, 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 AB. Eventually, Sonichu's fatigue was catching up with him, allowing SNT to push him back. No, he protested. SNT didn't hold back anything. She was all in. No! At last, Sonichu was knocked off his feet and smashed into the wall behind him. Sonichu! Rosechu went to tend to her mate. She wasn't up to fighting SNT for some reason. SNT got through Act 1, rank S, sexy. SNT ran past while rose to embrace Sonichu. You're going to be okay, my sweetheart. Now that SNT is gone, maybe we can be alone, she cooed. Please let me rest first, Sonichu responded as he fainted. Meanwhile, Courtney and Chris had traveled through the cave. Their final destination was an island in the middle of a pink lake. On that island was a small pink bed with flowers all over it. Courtney suddenly knew where this was headed. Thus far, all she'd done was talk with Chris about his life, but once she saw that bed, a feeling of dread overcame her, and she knew she had to get away. Chris hopped out of the boat and into the water, heading for the island. Come on in, the water is warm, he called to Courtney. Courtney needed an excuse. She didn't want to cross that pink water, or go to the island with Chris. I'm allergic to pink water. Yeah, that's it. I can't swim in that. However, Chris had a solution. He lifted Courtney up and placed her on his back to ride across the water without touching it. Courtney was stunned. What could she do now? It was a clumsy crossing, but they eventually made it to the island. Chris set Courtney down, and they both sat at the water's edge. Chris, you're nice and all, but... Courtney started. She had to get out of the situation. What's wrong? Chris asked. What I mean is, I don't think you are the guy for me, Courtney admitted. She had to get the idea across, because if she didn't, she would probably end up on that bed with Chris doing the unimaginable. What? Chris said in disbelief. It's not you, or maybe it is, but I don't deserve this. You've taken me to a nice place and all, but you kidnapped me from my own world to do it, Courtney explained. Plus, there are many things that I just don't like about you. What are you talking about? Chris asked, bewildered. Courtney started to think. Maybe I should just explain it by singing it to you. This next part is sung to the tune of the 1987 song Love Overboard by Gladys Knights and the Pips.
Oh, tell me, Christian, you know you try too hard to be in love with any girl this far. They tell me, Christian, this has gone too far, 'cause it feels like I am in a job. Sometimes we only want what's best. Sometimes we only want the best from you to help you through. We try to reach out, but you never react. When we do try to help, you always start a coup. In this world lies, there will always be hate. 1/1. You prioritize yourself. 1/1. You never help yourself. 1/1. You never have stepped up yourself. 1/1. I'm not in love with you. Hey! Christian, trolls say you go too far. When it comes to all the love and hate, I say, in this case, I say they are on par. Describing you and your fantasies, I say I understand. They want to push on your buttons. They would swim every shore to bother you more, even though it's a pain just to deal with the hate. But with a room of trolls, it doesn't hurt to ignore. 1/1. Oh, you ever grow up? 1/1. Please go help yourself. 1/1. Life is a given. 1/1. Stop living in a box. 1/1. You have never impressed me. 1/1. I'm not the girl you see. 1/1. Love is hard enough. 1/1. I'm not in love with you. Bridge. Everybody keeps telling what you do online. Look between the lines and try to find the logic you seek about the things you do. It seems like you've exposed yourself to the open world. Yeah. It's time to move on from your life. You need to let go of the times and start living a life because you aren't impressing me. Cause it's 1/1. Question. 1/1. Please get some help. 1/1. Na. Ooh, even though you're very sweet, but your love has never clean. 1/1. Na. I'm not in love with you. 1/1. Please don't talk to me. 1/1. You would never respect me. 1/1. I just want you to see. I'm not in love with you. Feeling? Trolling? No, trolling. No, yes. If I need some help, stop praising yourself. Don't come after me. Cause I'm not in love with you. Hey!
Chris just looked blankly at Courtney, trying to understand the meaning of her song. Are you saying that you don't love me? My point is this. Your purpose in life, in your mind, is to find a girl that will just take care of you and to have sex with you when you want it. That's not what a relationship means to me, Courtney explained. A relationship means that you want to hang out with a good friend of the opposite gender for the rest of your life, and you both take care of each other when needed. That means you both work hard to support the love you maintain. I have never met a girl in this world who is into any of the things you are interested in, or what you define as a relationship, because a girl looks for more than that. Girls look at whether you can take care of them or not, and it's obvious that you can't do that. Therefore, you are still single, and I don't want to put my life in your hands. Therefore, I don't love you, and never will, and possibly no girl ever will, because you're just too immature. Chris started to cry. Are you saying that you'll never love me? Courtney replied, I am not interested. I will never fall in love with you. Chris then yelled, just like he did before at the mall, No! And his heart meter shattered to -100%. Chris's anger also rose to astronomical levels since he'd gotten this close to having sex with a girl, but was caught short. His mental state shattered, and suddenly, Chris wasn't Chris anymore. Chris then lifted Courtney from her feet and then carried her. Hey, put me down! Courtney demanded as she fought against him. Chris then laid Courtney on the bed and pulled some rope from beneath it. That was when Courtney realized what was about to happen. Chris, this isn't you! Please, stop! What happened to respecting women? I don't care about what happens to women anymore. I can never find a true sweetheart, and now the first girl that hangs out with me refuses to love me? At this point, I'm throwing all my morals out the window. All I want is a simple kiss. That's it. A simple kiss. It would be my first time. Chris yelled as he nexted Courtney. Courtney didn't know what to do. The only weapon she had left was her voice. She screamed so loudly that an echo rang down the tunnel. SNT was running through the tunnel when suddenly she heard a terrified scream. She stopped to listen carefully and used the sound to figure out how close she was. Don't worry, Courtney. I'm coming! She then boosted, realizing that the situation had just gotten really serious. Sexual Speedway Zone Act 2. This part of the speedway was a lot faster as SNT couldn't stop moving. She had to reach Courtney in time to save her. The pillows in the area were now different shades of pink, and each shade had a different bounce radius. SNT used them to try to get to the higher path, because those were usually the fastest. SNT had no time to fight. SNT also had to overrun waves of pink water as she descended the slopes. This time, there were Pokemon in the water. They were heart-shaped Pokemon with long mouths. They would kiss SNT and make her temporarily fall in love, only to then get shot at by a laser. If there were many, they could quickly surround her, kiss her, and try to drown her with their weight, unless SNT boosted. SNT moved as fast as she could, going from bouncy platform to bouncy platform, until she saw the bed where Courtney and Chris lay on the island in the middle of the pond. SNT dived into the water to conceal herself from Chris. His face was already getting close to Courtney's. No matter. You ready to kiss? Chris asked. Courtney was terrified. Please wake up, Courtney. I don't want to be in this dream anymore, she said to herself desperately. The horror of Chris's fat lips touching hers was nothing she'd ever expected. And, just like that, SNT jumped out of the water and kicked Chris in the face, knocking him off the bed and into the pond. And that is what you get when you go too hard. SNT landed next to the bed and looked back at Courtney. Courtney smiled in joy. Oh, thank God, you are my lifesaver. You don't know how grateful I am. Thank you, SNT. I'm just doing what I needed to do, SNT responded modestly as she untied Courtney from the bed. Courtney then stood up, looked at herself, touched her arm, and pinched it. I'm not dreaming, am I? SNT replied. You seem real to me. Well, on the bright side, we avoided being kissed, so that's good, Courtney sighed in relief. SNT then put her hand out as they looked back at Chris flopping around in the water. He stood up. This isn't over, Courtney. Don't get all happy yet, he threatened. Chris laughed, his voice crackling as though he'd completely lost his mind. You have wrecked my world, SNT. All of the people that lived in Quickville are now against me, and you have taken my world from me. All I want is a girl who could love me all night, yet you have ruined that too, you troll. Now you must pay with your lives. Chris then took a button out of his pocket and pressed it. Suddenly, the tunnel above them began to crumble and the water started draining out. Chris yelled, Magi, beam me up! And suddenly Chris disappeared. The ceiling started to fall apart, showering SNT and Courtney with rubble. Courtney asked, How are we going to get out of here? Courtney, hold on to me, SNT replied. Courtney held on as SNT activated the 7 Chaos Emeralds. At this, both of their forms changed. Courtney's hair and eyes took on a light golden color, and SNT's fur also changed to gold, their hair lengthening and floating with the increased energy. Together they flew towards the opening of the cave. SNT flew in front as Courtney followed behind. Courtney remarked, I always wanted to be a magical girl, but I believe that dream just came true. SNT had to clear the way by spinning into rocks and breaking them, as they would otherwise slow her down. Courtney tried doing the same. She knew she was temporarily invincible, so she took full advantage of the flying power. They kept working together through the tunnel, breaking rocks to get out. Eventually, they saw a light shining at the end. We're almost there, Courtney. Just a few more moments, SNT declared joyfully. The pair sped up as the cave collapsed behind them and made it out just in time. SNT got through Act 2. Rank S. Shiny. Chapter 9. Mental Madness Zone. Still in their super forms, SNT and Courtney landed outside in front of Sonic. Once SNT deactivated the Chaos Emeralds, they returned to their original forms. Courtney hugged SNT. You were amazing, SNT. I don't remember giving you this much control with the Chaos Emeralds, but you have impressed me. I knew you could do it, SNT, Sonic said. She is special, he remarked to Courtney. SNT looked inquisitively at Courtney. What do you mean by giving me this much control? She asked. Oh, that's right. You don't know me, Courtney realized. SNT nodded. Courtney then sat down and proceeded to explain. You see, Courtney, you are my Sonic original character, Courtney began. You are technically me, the way I would portray myself as a Sonic character. Are you saying I'm technically you in another dimension? SNT asked. You could say that. To be honest, I didn't think you existed until this point. This suddenly makes Christine's argument about multiple dimensions hold weight after all, Courtney continued. Then, as an afterthought, she whispered to herself, Wait, why is Christine here? So, I am really a figment of your imagination? SNT asked. Yes, that is correct, Courtney admitted. But right now, I have just realized that I'm not the one controlling this story. What are you talking about? SNT asked curiously. I don't think that I am writing any story about Sonichu and you, SNT. I don't think Christian is either, because if that were the case, you would have lost the fight with Sonichu, Courtney reasoned. Therefore, there's another force controlling the story. Oh, no. This is a fan fiction! What does that mean? Sonic asked. Everything is being controlled by someone somewhere else, including every line of dialogue we say, Courtney explained. Whoever this person is, I'm going to smack him for writing that kissing scene. Are we ever going to get out of this world and find our way back to our own dimensions? SNT inquired. I don't know, but what we can do is... Courtney was suddenly interrupted by the shaking of the ground below them. The earth was heaving and groaning under their feet as cracks began to appear. Because Chris was losing his mind, it seemed that his world was becoming unstable and was tearing apart. The world he'd created was now in grave danger. S&T remembered that Chris had told her the world he'd created was being destroyed since her arrival. She had destroyed Chris's mind, and, consequently, this world would be obliterated. The cracks in the earth were becoming chasms, when suddenly, a bright light erupted and the world below them exploded, sending them all flying and floating in midair. When Sonic, SNT, and Courtney opened their eyes, they found themselves on what Courtney recognized as some kind of reverse world, just like where Giratina lived in the Pokemon game or movie. As they regained their feet and scanned the area, they could view fragments of the different places that SNT had traversed during her explorations of Chris's world that was now torn asunder. Chris has lost it, Courtney stated. This world is being destroyed once and for all. If we don't get out of here, we will forever be trapped in his broken imagination. We need to get moving. Okay, let's run, SNT, Sonic yelled as he helped Courtney onto his back. Let's dart, S&T replied as they both took off running deeper into the distorted world. Mental Madness Zone, Act 1. Every zone that S&T crossed was jumbled with various elements of other locations. For example, the sewer that S&T had gone through was now remixed with the lagoon, and the ocean water was now sewage. The pillows from the tunnel were spread out, which helped S&T reach higher planes. There were all types of combinations of all of the stages she'd traveled before. The pink water from the tunnel now floated in a bubble midair, forcing them all to swim through it to access the next platform. It also seemed that the rules of gravity had changed, much like the reverse world in Pokemon. When it was time to cross the bubbles of pink water, Sonic couldn't swim, so Courtney would take over and carry Sonic on her back as they made their way through the water. S&T ended up carrying both of them when going to higher platforms. To manage this, she spun her two tails around. When she boosted, Sonic would boost also, but Courtney needed to hold up during their bursts of speed, as she couldn't go fast on her own. Eventually, they had a stroke of luck and found some new running shoes that Courtney could use to keep up. It was fun for her to be running with Sonic and S&T for once. The Pokemon they encountered were a mix of all of the types S&T had encountered during her previous adventures. The same gimmicks applied. While swimming, the Lovefish Pokemon tried to drown Courtney and Sonic, but S&T saved them by boosting them out of it. Sonic got zapped by Pikachu, needing S&T to rescue him once more. Courtney was more knowledgeable about Pokemon, so she knew how to avoid them when possible. Eventually, they made it to a dark, box-like room. None of them could see a thing. Abruptly, there was light, and with it appeared a black Sonichu creature that bore an uncanny resemblance to Shadow. SNT, you have messed up this world and you shall pay for it, the newcomer raged. Black Chew, Courtney responded. Or Blake, or whatever. That's correct, Blake laughed. You were in that band with Christian, weren't you? S&T asked. I was, but now I am here to punish you all and kill you for your disrespect, you trolls, Blake snarled back. I am the only thing standing between you and Christian. This makes me the last boss before the final boss. Nothing you can do will stop us, Sonic retorted. All we're trying to do is get out of here. We don't want to do any more harm. Chris scared me. I'm exhausted, and all I want is to go home and sleep, Courtney yelled. Please, all we are asking is not to have to fight. We could just work together and all get out of this place. Nobody has to die, S&T begged. Blake only turned a deaf ear to her reasoning. Let's begin, Blake announced as darkness overtook the room once more, and everyone began to float above the ground as though gravity had been reversed. Blake was now under the cover of darkness, and in the absence of gravity, it seemed impossible to do homing attacks. S&T and Sonic were left to rely on the walls of the room to propel themselves in the directions they wanted. Light suddenly glowed around what seemed like Blake, but it wasn't for certain. S&T attempted to dive attack the middle, revealing that Blake was in the center of the orbiting lights. Sonic, attack the middle of the lights, she shouted. This worked, allowing Sonic to hurt Blake. Blake's light attack spread all over the room, causing a fire and lighting the room so that it was easier to see Blake. The combatants needed to be careful not to touch the fire. Courtney got a chance to attack Blake and threw him onto the wall. Blake also used a speed attack to propel himself onto anyone he saw. Eventually, after 10 hits, Blake coughed. The gravity came back on, and they all fell to the ground, with Blake falling flat on his face. SNT, Sonic, and Courtney got through Act 1, rank S, Shadow. Courtney then faced SNT. "Did you hear what Blake said?" she asked. "What was it?" SNT responded. "Blake said that he was the only thing standing in the way of Chris," Courtney stated. "The final battle is coming. The portal is right where Chris is. I know it," Sonic asserted. Suddenly, the ground shook again as the room broke up around them, forcing them all to jump from the now open room to another rock. Both Sonic and SNT made it, but Courtney couldn't jump as high. SNT caught her before she fell into oblivion and pulled her onto the rock with the rest. Right before them, the machine that Chris used to summon Courtney lay on some rock. "Hey, would you look at that?" Sonic remarked. "Give that to me," Courtney said. Sonic gave her the machine. Courtney started to examine how the machine worked. "What are you going to do with it?" SNT asked. Courtney then pressed the button and zapped the surroundings to find the creator of this fanfiction. Meanwhile, at a train station near a city in Texas, I was typing this story on my phone, thinking nothing of it. The train was coming in 5 minutes and I had my ticket in hand, so I could get home from school. I don't believe any of this is real, so I think this is going to be a one-gag thing, I said to myself, as I watched the train starting to pull into the station. The train's yellow and black doors then opened, and I closed my eyes and started boarding the high-floor trains. Oops, I missed a step. I tried again, and then opened my eyes, and realized I wasn't at the train station anymore. Instead, I found myself walking into the story I was writing. I was face to face with SNT, Sonic, and Courtney. Oh, to be honest, I didn't think this place existed until now. I'm just making this up as I go, I said. Courtney marched up and slapped me in the face. "This is what you get for writing that kissing scene with Chris." I'm sorry. I'm just putting my imagination to the test, wondering what I can do with it, I responded. "Who are you anyway?" SNT asked. "Well, like Courtney explained earlier, I'm the writer of the story. My screen name's OpusCon789 of fanfiction.net, I explained. Courtney confronted me. "How about you do us a favor? End this story now and put me back in my bed." I sighed. "I can't do that." "What?" Courtney, Sonic, and SNT reacted. "You see, I could do that if I wanted to, but I don't, because that would be a terrible ending for the story, just to say, right now, and everyone lived happily ever after, if I ended it here. I know there are people reading this, and I have a lot of inspiration left. I won't let you control what's on my mind. I'm finishing this no matter what that means, whether this place is real or not. So I'm sorry, Courtney, you're going to have to stick around," I explained. "Why, you—" Courtney tried to tackle me, but then I wrote on my phone, "I left the story and went back to the train I was just on, and the machine that Courtney used to summon the writer broke." Courtney was aggravated with the writer. "We are just going to have to play his game." The ground started to shake once more. S&T realized the situation and grabbed Courtney. "Sonic, let's keep going." "Got it," Sonic replied. Mental Madness Zone Act 2. This zone took all sorts of elements from all of the levels and mixed them up. However, it was also adding new things from real-world events. All of them ended up jumping on and over games that Chris liked and things that Chris hated. It was all used as platforms to other parts of the area. The games were spinning, reacting to wherever the three touched it with their feet, responding to the gravity. It also seemed that the items from Chris's room were incorporated. With all of his knickknacks that they had to platform over, it was like Chris's real life was being sucked into this world. It was obvious that Chris wasn't acting right, considering the circumstances. In the background, video clips of Chris's life played all around them. In several TVs were also platforms of him everywhere, as though they had entered his subconscious mind. Chris was now everywhere. The ground and the sky transformed into pattern from the shirts he wore. They ended up entering Chris's mouth and coming out of his butt. "Let's not talk about this again," Courtney suggested. "Agreed," Sonic and S&T said, after having witnessed the inside of a man. There were no Pokemon, as there were now just mini Chris's attacking them. Fortunately, these were extremely weak and harmless, so no one bothered with combat. Eventually, they arrived at the center of the zone, which was a large area with a pathway circling around a large white orb. There were 2 fire tornadoes, one on top of it and one on the bottom, that both led to oblivion. In the middle of the orb was the body of a sobbing man who seemed to be in the middle of a mental breakdown. It was Chris. He seemed completely out of it. "Chris!" SNT yelled. "Please, Chris, we need to talk to you." Chris looked up from the ball to see all 3 of them standing before him. He hopped out of the orb and landed on the ground before them. "You all have ruined me," he screamed. "Listen, Chris, I meant no harm. It was when this world attacked me that I reacted. I want to tell you that I'm sorry," SNT yelled. "If I didn't go to Angel Island, I would have never been here. Please, this is a great world for you and your characters to live in, and I respect that. I never meant to destroy it." "Please remember that this man tried to force himself on me," Courtney remarked. "Please, Courtney, you're not helping the situation," SNT snapped at her. "You will pay for what you have done. You have come to the center of my imagination to tell me this, but for a long time, I have realized I am not in control of it right now," Chris explained. "That's because there's another person writing the story, but we can't do anything to stop him," Sonic yelled. "Nothing has changed my mind. I will still punish all of you. No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me," Chris shouted. He then grabbed his Sonichu medallion and yelled, "Electric Hedgehog Power!" Suddenly, a white light appeared around Chris as his body began to transform into Sonichu. He grew his Pikachu tail and his Sonic-like spikes. When the light disappeared, it was revealed to just be a version of Sonic with Pikachu features. "Hey, you ripped off my style!" Sonic yelled. "Can't you come up with anything original?" "That doesn't matter," Chris said. "Meet Chris Chan Sonichu, and it's my original creation." "Pfft, not really," Courtney remarked. "Just don't question it. He's lost his mind," SNT said. "Really?" Sonic asked. They all looked at Chris. "Hey, I am kind of a tomgirl, and I want to switch my gender. Call me Christine Weston Chandler," she said, as she attempted to flirt with our heroes. "Yep, he has lost it," they all stated. "Prepare to end your lives here as we know it," Christine said with a smile, and just like that, the fight began. Chris started floating in the air and swooping across the stage, trying to make hits on the 3 of them. However, she was going in a rough figure-8 pattern, so it was easy to figure out where she was going. Suddenly, Chris then gathered an orb in her hand and yelled, "Hyper Beam!" The Hyper Beam was shot as she returned to the ground from half of the stage. So, to avoid it, all of them moved behind him. In response, SNT homing attacked, Sonic homing attacked, and Courtney slapped him hard. "That's for touching me!" Chris then lifted back into the air, and 3 bubbles appeared around her. The bubbles gathered the 3 companions and captured them inside. They were then transported into Chris's fake memories as they popped back out of the bubbles to see Bionic, now throwing basketballs onto the court for them to avoid. The balls bounced in a rhythm that all 3 had to dodge. This didn't last long, for after only 15 seconds, they were transported back to Chris's location. Chris did another figure-8, and then bounced back down to the floor they stood on. Then Chris started charging. Shockwave! Then she ground-pounded onto the ground and let the shockwaves wave out. They all jumped to avoid the 3 rounds of electric power, and then SNT homing attacked Chris. Then, Sonic took another hit, and next, Courtney kicked Chris in the back. Once more, Chris flew back into the air and surrounded himself with 2 bubbles, which swooped down and grabbed all 3 of them to bring them back through his memories. They were all transported into a room where Sonichu was waiting for them, as he sent lightning bolts to random parts of the stage, forcing them to dodge the attacks. After 15 seconds, they were again transported back to Chris. She stopped moving in a figure-8 pattern, and instead moved in a sort of M pattern across the stage. Then Chris performed a swift attack. Stars started to fly all over the stage, so that the gang had to jump over them. Since Courtney couldn't jump that high, she ducked instead. Then, Chris descended to the ground and started charging her boost. SNT quickly grabbed Courtney and jumped over Chris's boost attack along with Sonic. Then they all attacked Chris one by one. That was now a total of 9 hits on her. Chris once again summoned the bubbles to sweep them into another memory. Suddenly, they were warped into what seemed like the real world, as they were teleported onto a highway. Courtney jumped onto SNT's back, and noticed the highway sign saying, Interstate 76, Pennsylvania Turnpike. Chris's dark blue car with the license plate, Virginia, Sonichu, appeared behind them and tried to run them over. They jumped over the oncoming car, and then once the car passed them, its brakes checked them. Again, they jumped over it. Then the car took off into the air over their heads and maneuvered behind Sonic. With another jump, Sonic cleared the obstacle. The car brake-checked again, and shot clear over Sonic as SNT leapt over the projectile. After that, they were transported back to Chris's location another time. Chris then moved in a spiral pattern across the stage and prepared an electric wave attack. She made an electric shield around herself to form the lasers. One move in an X pattern across the area, then a T pattern, and then a Y pattern. Then Chris started spinning, forming a twister that all three had to outrun and not get stuck in. Courtney held onto SNT to keep herself from getting hurt or killed. Chris then became dizzy from spinning and fell to the ground, which left him open for attack. All three of the crew attacked him, one-on-one, with Courtney this time headbutting. Chris then recovered from his confusion and summoned the three bubbles again to capture the gang and send them into another memory. They were then transported to a grocery store. Suddenly, they had to avoid cops, who ran all around them and threw their batons in a pattern, and even jumped over them to trip them up. Slowwheel Ryam even appeared and shot a laser to keep them on their toes. After another 15 seconds, they were teleported back to Chris. Chris then maneuvered behind them and powered up, now spinning in the air, surrounded by electrical shockwaves. He chased them as they all to run from the electricity. Then, she dived right onto Courtney. Sonic grabbed her to protect her, understanding that she couldn't run that fast. Chris then became tired and dizzy from that attack, and landed on the ground. Using this stance, SNT homing attacked Chris along with Sonic. Courtney then landed the finishing blow. "Take this!" Courtney slammed her backside right into Chris, knocking her into the middle where she exploded. "No! Impossible!" Chris yelled in defeat. Then he fell off the stage. SNT, Courtney, and Sonic watched as Chris fell into the abyss below them. SNT, Sonic, and Courtney got through Act 2, rank S, spiked. "Great job, everyone!" Sonic cheered. "You too, Sonic. You did really well," SNT remarked. "That fight was no problem," Sonic replied, "but Courtney really got us through this." Courtney looked down into the abyss where Christine, as she now wanted to be called, had fallen. "I have a feeling this isn't over," she stated. "What do you mean?" SNT asked. "Well, first, you have the Chaos Emeralds. And doesn't Chris have a third form?" Courtney asked. Suddenly, the orb in the middle of the zone started acting crazy. The world around them started to crumble. "We gotta get out of here!" Sonic yelled. Courtney quickly hopped onto SNT's back as they all ran off. Thank you to my patrons, A Humble Narcissist, Angel, Ash Perler, Blue Coon, Elijah, Hunter, Jess, Jose, Joseph, Joshua, Caitlin, Randy, Shadow Nexus, Snotling, Steve, Torchka, and twitch.tv/SumaBreakup. SNT was getting tired, but could not get a breath between his legs. "Come on, Courtney. This tunnel of love is the perfect place where I can get you to... This fight with Sonichu was different from the first fight. Blue and yellow light streamed from the combat until she saw the bear. I don't think Chris Chan is either. She had destroyed. I don't believe any of this is real, so I think this is going to be a one-dag. All of them ended up jumping on and over their game, with all of his knickknacks that they had. In the background, video clips of Chris's life played all around them in several TVs, were also platforms of him anywhere. SNT quickly